Mr. Nyck, Mr. Nyck, he's our pick. It's Mr. Nyck. Yay!
Hey everybody, welcome to the Mr. Nyck Show, and I'm your host, Mr. Nyck. Today we are going to be talking about my top 10 favorite reptiles. You know, like lizards and snakes. I'm excited. Are you ready? Yeah, let's get started. Starting off my list of my favorite reptiles at number 10 is the Komodo Dragon. The Komodo Dragon lives in Indonesia, and it is the largest species of lizard in the entire world. It can grow to be up to 10 feet long, and it can weigh up to 150 pounds. Wow, that's huge. And Komodo dragons can produce toxins or a poison in glands that they have inside their mouths. So a Komodo dragon could have a venomous bite. That is pretty scary, you know, get bit, poison, yikes. And where the Komodo dragon lives in Indonesia, it is the top of the food chain, which means that no other animal is a threat to the Komodo dragon. And because of this, the Komodo dragon can live up to 30 years. That is the Komodo dragon, and that is the number 10 reptile on my list. The number 9 reptile on my list of favorite reptiles is a gecko. Geckos are small reptiles that live in warm areas all around the world. I live in Arizona, which is very warm, and I see geckos all the time. They're pretty cute, which is why they're on my list. There are about 1,500 different species of geckos, and some of the things that make geckos really cool, in my opinion, is that for starters, they can make vocal sounds to communicate, which other lizards cannot. And geckos are nocturnal, which means that they usually like to be awake during the night when most lizards are awake during the day. And another thing about geckos that I think is really neat is that they have these specialized little toe pads that help them climb even smooth surfaces straight up. Whereas most lizards would have to use claws, geckos have these little toe pads that can allow them to even walk upside down across a smooth ceiling. That's pretty silly, I think. And that's why the gecko is number 9 on my list of my favorite reptiles. Moving on to the number 8 reptile on my list is the iguana. The iguana is the largest lizard in the Americas, and they can live up to 60 years. The iguana can be almost 6 feet long. That's super big. Now you would think that a lizard that big might actually eat other lizards, but they don't. They only eat fruits and flowers and leaves. They don't eat other animals at all. One time when I was in Mexico, I actually saw an iguana swimming in a swimming pool. It was very surprising. I did not expect to see that, and it just climbed out and walked away. It was so cool. Now, another cool thing that I think is really neat about iguanas is that they have a special light sensing organ on top of its head. What does that mean? It means that it can tell when shadows or movement are occurring above them, which helps them because if another animal is coming at them to attack them and they don't see it, they can sense it with that special light sensing organ, and that can save them. That is why an iguana is number 8 on my list of my favorite reptiles. The number 7 reptile on my list is the Gila Monster. The Gila Monster is a venomous lizard with bead-like scales. They live up to 30 years, and they can get to be about as long as 1 to 2 feet. Now, they are the only venomous lizard in the United States. And they spend almost its entire life underground in burrows or under rocks. The Gila Monster is the most venomous lizard in the entire world. Their venom is as toxic as a rattlesnake. You do not want to touch a Gila Monster if you ever come across one. And They also live in Arizona, where I live. I've never seen one in person, but now I know if I do, to walk the other way. That's the Gila Monster, and that is the number 7 reptile on my list. The animal that comes in at number 6 on my list of favorite reptiles is one that you might be more familiar with. It's a turtle. The turtle is one of the oldest reptile groups, dating back to when the dinosaurs were alive. They are capable of swimming, and they have feet designed to help them paddle through water. A turtle can stay underwater for up to 1 hour, depending on the type of turtle. And did you know that a turtle shell has 2 parts? One part covering the back and one part covering the stomach. The shell on the back actually connects to the turtle's spine and rib cage, while the shell on its belly is connected to its shoulders and chest. That is a turtle, and that is the number 6 reptile on my list of favorite reptiles. Moving on to the number 5 animal on my list of favorite reptiles is the tortoise. Now, the tortoise is very similar to the turtle. They do look a lot alike, don't they? The tortoise can live anywhere from 80 to 150 years. 150 years! That's longer than any person has ever lived. That's crazy. Now, the tortoise lives on land, and they do not swim like turtles do. And if you've ever seen a tortoise walk, you'll notice that it walks very, very slowly. The tortoise cannot even walk 1 mile per hour, and that's because its shell is so heavy. Now, here's something interesting. Because the tortoise is so heavy, their legs and feet are actually more like an elephant's than a turtle. You know, turtles have feet that can help them swim, but tortoises don't swim. They're super heavy animals, and therefore they need very strong legs and feet. And their legs and feet are pretty similar to an elephant. I think that's very interesting. And that is why the tortoise is the number 5 animal on my list of my favorite reptiles. Now, moving on to my animal at the number 4 spot is the snake. A snake is a reptile with no legs. They move by moving their bodies along the ground, which most people call slithering. There are about 3,600 different species of snakes. And I'm about to make a snake video about my favorite top 10 snakes, so make sure you stay tuned and check that one out. And have you ever heard that a snake sheds its skin? Yeah, the skin of a snake does not grow as the snake grows, so the snake has to shed its old skin as it grows. And a snake can shed its skin up to 3 or 4 times per year, depending on how much it grows. And some snakes have a venomous bite, which means if they bite you, they can inject a poisonous venom into you. That is very dangerous, so make sure if you ever come across a snake, you don't try to touch it because you may not know if it's a venomous snake or not. Now, I said that there are over 3,600 species of snakes. The largest one is the reticulated python, which can be up to 30 feet long. And the shortest snake is the Barbados thread snake, which is only 4 inches long. That's so tiny. I like snakes, and they are my number 4 animal on my favorite reptile list. Moving on to the number 3 animal, and it is a crocodile. A crocodile can live up to 40 years. And did you know that a crocodile has 80 teeth? And they can replace a lost tooth up to 50 times. So if they bite into something and a tooth comes out, they can just grow a new tooth in its place. A lot like sharks. If you ever saw a shark episode, sharks can do that too. And speaking of sharks, the jaws or the bite of a crocodile is 10 times more powerful than a great white shark. Wow! Seriously, go check out our sharks episode because we talk about the great white shark, and it's amazing to me that a crocodile's bite is 10 times stronger than a great white shark. And crocodiles have a slow metabolism, which means that it can take a long time to process their food. So if they have a very big meal, sometimes crocodiles can go over a year without eating. What? I can't even go half a day without eating. They can go over a year? Wow. Crocodiles have webbed toes, which help them swim. That's important because they do spend a lot of time in the water. Now, the smallest crocodile is the dwarf crocodile, and it can be between 5 feet to just over 6 feet. That still seems pretty big to me. But the largest crocodile is the saltwater crocodile, and it can be over 20 feet long. Wow! And weigh over 2,000 pounds. That is a massive, massive animal. And the crocodile is number 3 on my list of favorite reptiles. Now going to the number 2 animal on my list is the alligator. The average alligator is about 13 to 14 feet long, and they usually weigh between 800 to 1,000 pounds. That's a big reptile. Alligators live in the southeastern part of the United States, Mexico, and even in China. Now, alligators have a large tail that helps them swim, but it also helps them protect themselves from other animals. That tail can be whipped so fast, you do not want to be hit by it. And since alligators and crocodiles look so much alike, let's talk about some of the differences. Alligators have a more rounded, wider snout, while crocodiles have a more narrow, V-shaped snout. And crocodiles' lower teeth can be seen even with the mouth closed, while alligators have grooves where their lower teeth fit perfectly and you cannot see them when their mouth is closed. And if you've seen any of my other episodes when I'm not so animated, you've seen that my sidekick and my co-host, Allie, is an alligator. So of course, I had to put alligators pretty high on my list of my favorite reptiles, and that is why they are number 2 on my list of favorite reptiles. And here we are, we made it to the number 1 animal on my list of favorite reptiles, and number 1 is the chameleon. Yeah, I think chameleons are so unique and interesting, I had to put it number 1 on my list, even over the gators. That's right, I think they're so cool. Let's talk about the chameleon. There are 202 species of chameleons, and many of them can change colors. Yeah, they can change their colors. That's crazy. And they have a few different reasons for why they do it. One is camouflage. Camouflage means that they can look like the surrounding area so that other animals have a hard time seeing them. Another reason why chameleons change colors is to help regulate body temperature. So they can make themselves darker to absorb sunlight and help them warm up, or they can make themselves lighter to reflect the sunlight and help cool themselves down. And another reason why chameleons change color is to communicate with other chameleons. Certain colors can tell other chameleons if they're upset, or maybe if they're feeling okay, or if they're not feeling well and they're sick. Chameleons have feet that are similar to birds, 2 toes in the front and 1 toe in the back. That helps them grab on to branches and helps them walk and hold on to things. That's different than most reptiles. And did you know that chameleons' eyes can move in different directions at the same time? So they can look at 2 different things at the same time. That's really interesting. Not many animals can do that. And chameleons catch food by shooting its tongue out of its mouth super fast, sticking to like an insect and pulling it back into its mouth. their tongue can reach an animal or an insect that they want to eat in 0.07 seconds. That's like blinking. It's so fast. Boom! There goes the tongue and they got their meal. I think it's pretty easy to see why the chameleon is number one on my list of favorite reptiles. They're so crazy unique. They can change colors, their eyes can go in 2 different directions at once, they have feet like a bird, and they catch their meals by shooting their tongue out of their mouth. That is so awesome to me, and that is why the chameleon is number one on my list of favorite reptiles. Well, I hope that you guys had a lot of fun today with me because I know I enjoyed this. And I hope that you want to go and watch all the other episodes that we're doing because they're so much fun to make. I hope that you like them. If you did, give it a thumbs up. Hit subscribe so you see all the other cool episodes that we have coming your way, including my trip to the San Diego Zoo. Yeah, that one's coming up soon and it's going to be a lot of fun because I got to see a lot of these animals right up close in real life. All right, guys. Well, I'll see you next time here on the Mr. Nyck Show. Bye!
Mr. Nyck, he's our pig. It's Mr.